Hi Keysborough Gardens, welcome to our remote art lessons for week 7. I hope everyone's doing really well at home, getting outside in the nice weather and getting some fresh air and exercise. For today's task, we are going to be doing some grid drawing, but we're going to be creating our own string frame in order to help us with that. So what you'll need today is you'll need some cardboard. Now you can use hard card paper, we just need it to be a bit more rigid. So cardboard is nice and rigid, we can hold it up without it flopping over. So if you have some cardboard from a delivery or from an old box or even the side of a tissue box or anything really, we want to have a good decent sized square of that. You will need some scissors, you will need some string, and you will need some paper and drawing materials in order to create your artwork. Alrighty, so the very first step is to cut out a square inside our cardboard. We want it to be big enough that we can hold it up and see our image through it, sort of like a picture frame. But we don't want it to be so thin that we won't be able to attach our string to the frame. Okay, so here I've got my cardboard, and here you can see I've cut out that middle, we don't need that, and I have my frame. Now there are two options for what you can do. You can either poke some holes in the frame to tie your string, or if you're not comfortable using your scissors to poke some holes in the frame, you are more than welcome to use some sticky tape to attach the string to your frame. We want to have 2 bits of string going across and 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of string going vertically. So that will break our frame into 3 rows and 5 columns. So 2 bits of string that go across, attach. And we want 4 bits of string, splitting up our frame into equal columns. Okay, so what I have done is I have used my scissors to very carefully put holes in my cardboard, and then I have used my string to create 1, 2, 3 rows and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. So you can see that I've tied my string doing that. Now, the amount of rows and columns that you have doesn't matter. It just matters that they're even. Okay, so if you've got a bigger piece of cardboard that's more square, you might have 4 rows and 4 columns. You might have 3 rows and 6 columns. You might have 4 rows and 5 columns. It doesn't matter, it just depends on your piece of cardboard that you have available to you. Now, the important thing is though, depending on how many rows and columns you have, it needs to mirror onto your paper equally, okay? So you need to have 3 rows and 3 columns, or if I hold it this way, it's 5 rows and 3 columns. You need to have the same amount of columns and rows on your paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my ruler to create those 3 rows and 5 columns. Now, my frame here is much more rectangular than my paper. Okay, so whatever I draw through looking through my frame is going to come out a bit stretched. So if you don't use the whole piece of paper, that's okay. I might fold down part of my paper just so that I'm not using the whole thing. Then I'm going to split my paper into equal rows, 1, 2, I'm just doing this by eye. You might like to measure out that your rows are equal. And 5 columns. So by the way, you will be doing this using a grey lead. The only reason I'm using a marker is so that you can see it in the video. But when we are drawing or sketching, you must always use a grey lead, because if I made a mistake here, which I have, it's not very equal, I could rub it out. Now I've got my frame and my piece of paper. This needs to be in a grey lead, so then you are able to rub it out after you finish your sketching. Now, no matter what I look at, no matter what I draw looking through my frame, I will be able to get the... Now, no matter what I look at looking through my frame, I will be able to draw it proportionally correct, so to scale. Alright, as long as whatever I see through my frame goes into those little squares. So whatever I see in this little square here, I will draw in this square here. Whatever I see in this square, I will draw in this square. It's just a way for us to keep the proportions correct, okay? Or else we end up with trees that have tiny skinny little trunks and massive tops, or we end up with dogs with enormous heads and tiny little bodies. So have a think about what things around home you would like to draw.